Good morning. It's good to be with you today as we continue together in our time in Luke. It's good to. I've been enjoying this gospel thus far, and it's really been encouraging me to read as I was looking over today's reading and reading some of the notes. Kind of gave me some new insight that I hadn't really pondered in a while. So let's read Luke chapter 2. We'll read verses 41 through 52. Luke 2, 41 through 52, which is this is the ending of Luke chapter 2. It's a little bit shorter than Luke 1, but still 52 verses, a lot of verses. Now, every year his parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. When the festival had ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Assuming he was with a group of travelers, they went a day's journey. They started to look for him among the relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." He said to them, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and was obedient to them. His mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in the years and in divine and human favor. We That's the second time. The last one thing about going to Nazareth said the child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom. The favor of God was upon him. 52 says, and Jesus increased in wisdom and in the years and divine and human favor. So well, I think what's interesting is notice how this is what I was thinking about as I was reading this morning, how obedient Mary and Joseph are to the customs and to the law of the people. So we see chapter 2, verse 21. After 8 days had passed, it was time to circumcise the child. He's called Jesus, name given to him. 22, when the time of purification had come, the law of Moses, they brought him up. And now we see here, 41, now his parents went to Jerusalem for the Passover. Every year his parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. Um, Nazareth, by the way, is about 60 miles from Jerusalem. So not a day, not a short, you know, 3 mile walk, but it's a it's a walkable traveling journey um for Mary and Joseph and Jesus. But what I think is significant is just notice how regular their faith was. It was part of their life. And I think we negate, maybe undervalue the importance of our religious rituals in our formation. Because, we read the prophets where the prophets say, "You worship me, you honor me with words, but your hearts are far away. I detest your sacrifices." And so we attempt to say, "See, what the Lord values is the heart. The Lord values the heart. The Lord values the heart. He doesn't very Our acts aren't as important. Your good works are as but filthy rags. So our works aren't important. What matters is our heart." And that is right. Paul tells us we're saved by grace through faith, lest no one can boast. So our works don't save us. But I think particularly we Protestants, undervalue the importance of the rituals of religion for the formation of religious character. I think it's something one of my professors used to always say about individual spirituality and just doing what I want to do, or, hey, it's just about me, what I feel like is the right thing to do. He'd always say, it's amazing when it's just me and Jesus, how often Jesus agrees with me. And we really need our rituals to form us. We need our habits and our patterns. These are not bad things. Habits, Christian practices, Christian rituals, Christian observances. The regular heartbeat of our daily faith is important. And I know not all of us are creatures of routine like me, but I think if we aren't regularly observing to the ordinances of God, what Wesley would call the ordinances of God, then we're not forming our character like we ought to. And I think especially with our families, not that our families need to always be perfectly religious like we often think about on TV or on Hallmark postcards. That's not what it's about. The disciples went to Jesus and said, "Teach us to pray." Our patterns matter. Our religious life matters. And we see here Jesus was formed by that, that Mary and Joseph regularly took him to the temple for the Passover, took him for the things demanded by the law, that Jesus was immersed, marinated, bathed in the rituals and the law of his people. I've said before that I think sometimes our colleges do a better job of discipling their fan bases than the church does of discipling our children, because we dress our children in the colors of our colleges, don't we? You know, we teach them the cheers, and those are good times. So listen, hey, I've got pictures of my youngins dressed in colors. You know, we go to a lot of Southern Miss football games right now to watch the band play. So I'm not against that. I'll be going to Dell State this fall to watch the fight in Okra. Um, do we do we teach our children the same rituals of the church? Do we imprint upon them the heartbeat of the church? I'm going home this weekend to preach homecoming back at Johnston Chapel, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being with family and friends down there and recounting stories of the Glenn Johnstons and Robert Stocktons and Eleanor Johnstons and Carolyn Pools and Diane Woodalls and all these saints who formed me religiously when I was a child. And they formed for me the practices that remain to this day. The practices that matter to me of prayer and of worship and of scripture and of these things that underpin my life. Um, Mary and Joseph did that with Jesus. And so much, in fact, that, and I think there's a lot of, we can delve into the story here of Jesus staying in the temple. It must be about my Father's work. Jesus knew, even at this point, was knew what his purpose and call wasn't. And once again, we see Mary once again pondering these things. Or once again, notice these things pop up once again for the third time in a couple chapters. The Mary treasured these things in her heart. So we see once again these things lying close to her. Um, but we see that, and we see Jesus also was obedient. I mean, that's one of my favorite stories about Jesus is when he heals a centurion. And a centurion servant, and the centurion says to him, I see that you too are a man under authority. Jesus obeyed his parents, Jesus obeyed his parents. Jesus submitted to his father. This goes back to community, that we need those above us. We need those beside us. We need those below us. We need the community of faith. And Jesus was formed by that, and it mattered to him. So, I guess my question as you ponder today's verses, you maybe treasure these things in your heart, not my words, but the scriptures. Um, what are those rituals that matter to you? What are those patterns and practices that form you? What are those things that define you? One of my favorite songs is Rich Mullins' song called Creed, where he basically sings the Apostles' Creed. And I've shared with you before, it has this little bridge that said, I did not make it. No, it is making me. What are the religious practices that make you, that form you, that hem you in, that give you character, that give you foundations, that give you sturdiness, that give you a firm foundation in storms? What are the things you turn to when you need that foundation? Mary and Joseph value these things, and Jesus lived them out, and we will see Jesus live them out continually in his ministry. So What are the things that form you? Don't lose them. Don't forsake them. Stick with them. Value them. Teach them to your children and your grandchildren. What forms you? May it always be the religious practices, the teachings, the traditions, the rituals of our church. Hey, thanks for being with us. Tomorrow we'll pick up with chapter 3 and we'll start looking at John the Baptist and some of his teachings. So, hey, we'll see you in the morning. Thanks.